welcome to DBN Business News. In the news today, federal government directs MDAS to cut expenditure in 2016 budget. House of Reps wants more refineries. Nigeria loses 10 billion naira to bird flu. And we take a look at global stocks markets. Welcome once again. I am Seun Awosika. Now the news in full. Nigeria says all government ministries, departments and agencies have been told to cut expenditure under the 2016 budget. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said this was necessary in order to control expenditure of the federal government. The Vice President made the announcement at a one-day sensitization seminar on the 2016 budget organized for permanent secretaries and director generals at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Osinbajo told government officials that to achieve the socio-economic goals of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, there is a need to change the way budgeting is done. He also explained that the Treasury single account policy would enable government to free up revenues that would then become available for economic growth and development. The Securities and Exchange Commission has unveiled plans to grow the size of non-interest products to 25% of the overall market capitalization. Director General of SEC, Munir Guazo, revealed the plans at a roundtable meeting with a delegation led by the Lord Mayor of London, Adaman Alanjaro, and Nigeria regulators in Abuja. It says SEC wants to build a strong regulatory regime for non-interest products, encourage stakeholders in the non-interest capital market, and ensure the emergence of Nigeria as a prominent non-interest capital market center. Munir Guazo, who was represented by Executive Commissioner Corporate Services Zakawanu Garuba, also stated that SEC was considering modalities for setting up a Sharia Advisory Council. Responding, the Lord Mayor of London assured of the United Kingdom's support. The House of Representatives has backed the licensing of more refineries in the country to end fuel supply shortages and expand the oil industry. As a bill on refineries passed second reading, some lawmakers from the Niger Delta opposed the destruction of illegal refineries by security agencies, preferring that the operators should be licensed and regulated. The bill is titled A Bill for an Act to Provide for the Licensing, Regulation, and Incentives to Petroleum Refineries in Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith. It was sponsored by a member of Abia State, Mr. Ozuma Nkem Abonta. Still on the House of Representatives, the lawmakers have directed the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission and distribution companies in the country to stop any plans to further increase electricity tariff. NEC and all the discos operating in the country were also summoned to appear before the House to explain why an upward review of tariff was necessary at a time that consumers complained of poor supply of electricity. In a resolution passed unanimously during a plenary in Abuja, the House further told NEC and distribution companies to immediately begin the provision and installation of prepaid meters to every consumer nationwide. The House passed the resolution after debating a motion moved by a member from Plateau State, Mr. Solomon Barron. Now, DBN Business was on the streets of Lagos to find out from Nigerians if NEC and discos should be allowed to increase electricity bill based on the claim of increase in power supply. These are the responses we got.
If they increase electricity now, then where do we stand? It's a very ugly situation. It cannot be, because at the moment we're not even enjoying electricity, so to say, and they want to increase it.
If Nigeria can have a still like Ghana, other countries, Western countries, if they increase it, there's no problem.
To me, it shows the heights of Nigeria corruption and underdevelopment, because even at the prices they have already set for the bills, electricity is not constant. So how are we assured that with the increase of the bills, electricity will improve?
They should not increase it. We still have a lot of things to tackle in this country. Distribution of electricity, one, is giving them problems. That is number one. Then secondly, we still buy materials for them. If you go to some places at Ikorodu or any other part of Lagos State, you will see the community coming up, buying poles, buying cables for NEPA.
The one they have been collecting, that is the previous tariff, they've not been faithful. That means they collect it and they don't give us this light, they don't supply the light, so I don't think they should increase.
Nigeria has lost over 10 billion naira to the outbreak of avian influenza, otherwise known as bird flu, in poultry farms located in 21 states across the country. The Poultry Association of Nigeria said the losses were incurred between January and September this year. Director General of PAN, Mr. Onado Akpa, lamented that the outbreak of bird flu also led to the depopulation of about 1.7 million birds. Mr. Akpa, who spoke to reporters in Abuja, noted that each of the birds had an average economic value of about 7,000 naira. He also urged the federal government to reconsider its decision to suspend payment of compensation to poultry farmers who lost their investments as a result of the outbreak of the disease. Now, the Fiscal Responsibility Commission says it has recovered over 360 billion naira from ministries, departments, and agencies since its establishment 8 years ago. Chairman of the Commission, Mr. Victor Muraku, said this when he received members of the Adamawa State Fiscal Responsibility Commission who visited the agency for a 2-day training on the operations of the agency in Abuja. He also called on states of the Federation and local governments to embrace fiscal responsibility as a tool for financial prudence. Now, we'll take a quick break to bring you figures from the Nigerian stock market on Wednesday, 7th of October. More business stories when we return. Welcome back now for some foreign business stories. Ghana has confirmed that it is now getting robust supply from Nigeria through West African Gas Pipeline Network. Ghana's Volta River Authority, in fact, stated that it is unable to consume all the gas that comes in from the network. The Business Development Manager of VRA, Kofi Ellis, said Ghana now gets 140 million standard cubic feet per day of gas from Nigeria. Wow. The World Bank has said Kenya's economy will continue to grow at a robust pace in 2016, outpacing Nigeria and South Africa despite the weakened shilling. The bank said Kenya's growth prospects will be mainly supported by spending on the standard gauge railway and the Lamu port, which are expected to boost domestic trade by lowering transportation costs. According to a report by the World Bank, Kenya's economy has, however, suffered a setback due to slower growth rates in China. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries has expressed optimism that a slash in global investment would lead to increase in crude oil prices. Global investment reduced by $130 billion in 2015 from its level of $650 billion in 2014. OPEC projection was based on the fact that investment in new or expansion projects has reduced, meaning supply will tighten, and as supply falls, prices will rise. The Secretary General of OPEC, Abdallah Salem El-Badri, gave the projections in a speech at the Oil and Money Conference in London. The International Monetary Fund believes the massive arrival of migrants in the European Union could ultimately fuel economic growth for those countries. Chief Economist of IMF, Maurice Obstfeld, said the rush will burden member states' budgets in the short term, but in the long term, it will help its economies by expanding the labor force. The United Nations said some 700,000 migrants and refugees will make the dangerous trip across the Mediterranean to Europe this year, with a similar number expected against next year. The influx has caused conflict among the EU's 28 members and led to a partial breakdown in their open border system as member states struggle to cope. Volkswagen says it would launch a recall of cars affected by its diesel emission crisis in January and complete the fix by the end of next year. Chief Executive Matthias Müller also told newsmen in Germany on Wednesday that only a few employees were involved in the diesel emission rigging that has hammered the company's stock and done severe damage to its reputation. Müller further rejected suggestions that the automaker had informed financial markets too late about the diesel problems. Asian stocks got to the highest levels in 7 weeks on Wednesday as oil prices showed some signs of life, supporting battered resource shares and emerging economic currencies. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan gained 1.1%, rising above its September 18 peak to reach its highest level since late August. Japan's Nikkei 225, however, fell 0.7% and the yen rose as much as 0.4%. Outside Japan, share prices were mostly higher as jump in oil prices helped to allay some concerns that a cooling in the Chinese economy could lead to overcapacity in many industries, especially the resource sector. Let's now look at the indices from other markets of the world. And that's it on DVN Business News. Thanks for watching. I am Seun Awosika.